So Jim Jordan and the House Republicans just got, they got a rude awakening. I mean, a total wake-up call in their own hearing room. Their entire narrative, the one about the Department of Justice being weaponized or whatever, it just got checkmated by the guy they hate the most, former special counsel Jack Smith. We are talking about a total dismantling of the whole Biden puppet conspiracy theory under oath on live TV. But here is the thing. It is not just about what Jack Smith said. It is about the specific, the damning evidence Representative Dan Goldman put on the record regarding who exactly told Donald Trump he lost the election. And I have the documents. I have the court documents here that corroborate every single thing Smith just testified to. Plus, I have the receipts on this. Massive hypocrisy from Marco Rubio that the GOP is probably praying you forgot about. Well, I read up on legal experts who say this testimony just made the selective prosecution defense virtually impossible to win. So on January 22nd, 2026, Representative Dan Goldman, who used to be a prosecutor himself, right? He questioned former special counsel Jack Smith. You have to watch how Goldman systematically dismantles the two biggest lies of the Trump defense. First, that Trump truly believed he won, and second, that Joe Biden secretly ordered this prosecution. Just watch this, and then I'm going to break down the specific legal filings that prove Smith is telling the truth. I will do that at the end, okay?
The gentleman from New York is recognized for 5 minutes.
I would caution my friend from South Carolina and others against jumping into bed with Judge Cannon, who's been rebuked repeatedly by the 11th Circuit because she is completely lawless. But let's go back to the actual evidence rather than all the procedural stuff about when you were sworn in or not. I don't blame you for not remembering that. You've been probably sworn in a dozen times. It doesn't jump out at you. I want to go back to the evidence, though, that Donald Trump knew that he was lying about the election. And I'd ask you to say, if you could, specifically, who gave evidence to you that supported your conclusion that he knew that he was lying?
That came from a number of sources. It came from staff in the White House who talked to him and told him that his fraud claims were not true. It came from staff on his campaign who told him that. It came from members of the Department of Justice. It came from state officials who, when he tried to press them to do things in contravention of their oath, they refused to. They asked him for evidence and his co-conspirators, and they never provided it. Over and over again, the people who had who were best situated to know how the elections were conducted in these states, he either avoided contacting them or disregarded the clear debunkings that were provided to him, such as by the Georgia Secretary of State.
Right, and I mean, that's a lot of evidence, but we know that his attorney general at the time also concluded, quote, he knew well that he lost the election, Bill Barr, and yet he incited a riot on January 6th, and 4 of the brave officers who defended the Capitol and defended my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are here today. Not a single Republican member of this committee has recognized them or thanked them for their service, and I would like to do so today. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, my colleague from California referred to a couple statements from your former colleagues in Penn and the Eastern District about your impeccable reputation as an apolitical career politician. As an alum of the Southern District of New York myself, I can tell you that many of my former colleagues also feel the same, and that's saying something coming from the SDNY to the EDNY, as you know. Mr. Smith, did you ever speak to President Biden about this case?
Never.
Did you ever receive orders or direction from President Biden or anyone else in the White House about this case?
No.
Did you ever receive any direction from the Attorney General Merrick Garland regarding how you should, whether or not you should charge this case?
No, I was given the independence to make that decision on my own.
An independent special counsel, exactly. I just want to point out to my colleagues who seem to think this is a politicized investigation that on February 10th, over a month, 2021, over a month after January 6th, Marco Rubio said the January 6th attack on the Capitol was far more dangerous than most realize, and we have a criminal justice system in place to address it. Who oversaw the Department of Justice on February 10th, 2021? Who was president?
On February 10th, 2021, that would be Joe Biden.
So Marco Rubio wanted Joe Biden's Department of Justice to investigate Donald Trump and his January 6th insurrectionist. I want to ask you in my last few seconds, Mr. Smith, you're not the first special counsel to investigate Donald Trump. Special counsel Mueller, also of impeccable integrity, concluded that the 2016 Trump campaign welcomed foreign interference from Russia and used it to help them. Donald Trump has made it a litmus test to be hired in this administration to say that the 2020 election was fraudulent, even though, as you have established, it was not. And now there are senior officials in this government who are responsible for protecting our elections, who are election deniers. Can you describe in a few seconds what your concerns are about the upcoming election based on your investigation and what we know today?
I believe political litmus tests are not proper for career prosecutors. I think my experience over 30 years as a prosecutor in the Department of Justice is having people who are not guided by party allegiance, but guided by experience. That's how you can trust the criminal justice system. It's the same way with our election system.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you. I yield back.
Jack Smith, under oath, dismantling the entire Biden corruption narrative in what? Less than 10 seconds? With one word, never. But I want to verify the first part of that clip. The claim about who told Donald Trump he lost. Jack Smith listed off a bunch of groups. White House staff, campaign staff, DOJ officials. I wanted to verify this myself, so I pulled the original indictment filed by Jack Smith in the District of Columbia. According to the indictment, let me see here, United States versus Donald J. Trump. Case 1, 2, 3, CR 00257, filed on August 1st, 2023. The special counsel didn't just guess about this. He wrote it down. He documented it. Here is the actual language. I have it right here. It lists the people who told Trump there was no fraud. Let's see. 1, the Vice President, Mike Pence. 2, the senior Justice Department leaders. 3, the Director of National Intelligence. 4, the Department of Homeland Security. 5, senior White House attorneys. And 6, senior campaign staff. What this means in plain English is that Trump wasn't confused. He wasn't misled. He was being told by literally everyone on his payroll. From the intelligence community to his own campaign manager, they told him he lost. And this is significant because the entire defense in the court of public opinion has been freedom of speech, that Trump truly believed the election was stolen. But as Smith testified, when you are told by every single expert that you are wrong and you avoid contacting the people who know the truth, that is evidence. That is criminal intent. Also, Representative Goldman mentioned Judge Cannon being lawless. Whoa, that isn't just a political insult. I looked up the court records. According to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals ruling in Trump versus United States from September 21st, 2022, the appellate court didn't just disagree with Judge Cannon. They dismantled her. They wrote that her ruling to intervene in the investigation was a radical departure from precedent. Goldman is 100% correct on the record. The conservative 11th Circuit has repeatedly had to step in to stop her from violating the law. Now, don't just take my word for it. I looked into what legal experts are saying about the significance of Smith's never testimony regarding Biden. Andrew Weissman, he is the former FBI general counsel and a lead prosecutor in the Mueller investigation. He analyzed this specific dynamic. According to Weissman, in analysis provided to MSNBC, proving that the White House had zero contact with the special counsel is the death knell for the selective prosecution defense. He noted, let me find the quote, here it is. If you cannot show that the decision-maker, Smith, was influenced by a political actor, Biden, the legal claim of weaponization evaporates. It becomes a conspiracy theory without a conspiracy. And Weissman is exactly right, because under the Supreme Court standard for selective prosecution, you have to prove both discriminatory effect and discriminatory purpose. Smith's testimony under oath that he never spoke to Biden. That kills the discriminatory purpose prong dead in the water. But here is the other development that makes this clip so important. Representative Goldman referenced senior officials in this government who are election deniers. According to verified reporting from the New York Times tracking the Project 2025 transition, we are seeing a systematic placement of individuals who have publicly denied the 2020 results into key infrastructure roles. This changes things. Because Jack Smith isn't just testifying about the past crime, he is warning us about the future integrity of the Department of Justice. When he says political litmus tests are not proper for career prosecutors, he's directly addressing the current plan to reclassify civil servants and fire them if they aren't loyal to the MAGA movement. You know what really gets me about this clip? It is the sheer, unadulterated hypocrisy exposed by Representative Goldman regarding Marco Rubio. Let's look at the receipts, because they are devastating. Representative Goldman quoted Marco Rubio from February 10th, 2021. I went back and found the original statement. I just wanted to ensure we have the full context, right? In a tweet posted by Senator Marco Rubio on February 10th, 2021, he wrote, "The 6th Jan attack on the Capitol was far more dangerous than most realize, and we have a criminal justice system in place to address it. This is documented, it is still up on the Internet archives, but now, compare that to what the Republican Party line is today. When the criminal justice system actually addressed it exactly as Rubio asked Jim Jordan, and the House Judiciary Committee launched an investigation into the investigators, claiming it was weaponization. Let me show you the pattern. In 2021, Rubio says, use the criminal justice system. In 2023, when Smith brings charges, the GOP calls it election interference. In 2026, during this hearing, they are trying to discredit the very prosecutor doing what Rubio asked for. The receipts are there. They wanted law and order until the law and order applied to their leader. So what does this testimony actually mean legally for the cases against Donald Trump? Let me break down the implications. I looked at analysis from Neil Katyal, the former acting Solicitor General of the United States. According to Katyal, Jack Smith's testimony creates a perjury trap for the defense if they try to file motions claiming coordination. Here is the scenario. If Trump's legal team files a motion to dismiss based on Biden coordination, they now have to overcome sworn congressional testimony from the prosecutor himself. If they file that motion without evidence to contradict Smith, they risk sanctions from the court for making frivolous arguments. Smith just laid a legal landmine for the defense team. Furthermore, there is precedent here. Back in the Watergate era, the independence of the special prosecutor was the central legal issue that eventually led to the Supreme Court ruling in United States versus Nixon. According to the Supreme Court record in that case, the unanimous court ruled that the president is not above the law. He cannot interfere with the evidence gathering of an independent prosecutor. Jack Smith is standing firmly on that bedrock precedent. By stating, I was given the independence, he is legally shielding his findings from being thrown out by a judge, even a judge like Aileen Cannon, on the grounds of political interference. This hearing is part of a much larger story that has been unfolding for years. Just look at the timeline Representative Goldman laid out. 2016, Mueller finds the Trump campaign welcomed Russian interference. That is in the Mueller Report, Volume 1. 2020, Trump is told by everyone he lost, but claims fraud anyway. 2021, Rubio and GOP leadership admit the danger of Jan 6. Today, they are rewriting history. According to Dr. Ruth Ben-Ghiat, she is an expert on authoritarianism who tracks these patterns. This rewriting of history is a hallmark of Democratic backsliding. In her analysis of strongman tactics, she notes, what strongmen do is, if you are corrupt, you need to get back into power to shut down all the institutions that can harm you. And that is exactly what Smith warned about in the final seconds of that clip. When he talks about litmus tests, he isn't speaking in abstract terms. He is talking about the Schedule F executive order that would strip protections from 50,000 civil servants. Here is what they aren't telling you. The independent nature of the Special Counsel Regulations 28 CFR Section 600 specifically prohibits the Attorney General from day-to-day supervision of the Special Counsel. The documentation is clear. Smith had the authority, and he used it. Jack Smith, looking the House GOP in the eye and destroying the Biden weaponization, lie with a single word. And just to be clear, this isn't speculation. We have got the 11th Circuit rulings that prove Judge Cannon was lawless. We have the Marco Rubio tweets that prove the GOP hypocrisy and the sworn testimony of the special counsel himself. And by the way, I just found a report from the Brennan Center for Justice that details exactly how political litmus tests destroy the rule of law. I will be doing a deep dive on that in a future video because it aligns perfectly with Smith's warning. Let me know what you think in the comments. I really want to know. Do you believe Jack Smith's testimony that he never spoke to Biden? And why do you think Marco Rubio changed his tune so drastically? Please hit the notification bell and the like and subscribe button. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers so we can keep bringing you the facts the mainstream media glosses over. Thanks so much for watching.